Being right in a relationship, there's nothing quite like the summer holidays to give you plenty of content. So my two boys were arguing downstairs and I couldn't really hear what was going on, so I asked them to come up. And what was happening was they were arguing over who was right about who had got some pens out. And so as I was speaking to them, you know, I was asking the question, what's the importance here of being right? Like, if you win the argument and you were right that the pens were taken out by the other person, what does that mean? What does that create? And both of them admitted that it wouldn't make any difference. It wouldn't change anything other than the fact that they would be right. And this is something that I see really frequently with couples, that they end up getting caught up in arguments that of something that they're not actually arguing about. And so quite often, you know, these sort of little battles and discussions where we feel that we need to be right are actually a symptom of something a little bit deeper. And these can be things like wanting to be seen, wanting to be acknowledged, wanting, you know, maybe there's a lack of feeling of power in the relationship. And especially for my children, you know, my eldest is like, he's very much about justice and being right is a really important thing to him. And my youngest, he really feels like he needs to assert his territory, his boundaries. And so sometimes we'll argue with my eldest just for the sake of being able to do that. And so for them, it's being caught up in this power dynamic. But going back to, you know, how this shows up in relationship, it's like, if you can acknowledge the part, you know, and what it is that actually is the deeper meaning for you, being caught up in that, and bring that instead. So I'm not feeling seen, or I don't feel like I have the power in the relationship. And you speak to that, because often these battles that we're having are just basically disconnecting us and pulling us away. In fact, I think it's the Gottmans that say like 60% of arguments can't be resolved. And Esther Perel herself says, you know, would you prefer to be right or would you prefer to be married? And this isn't about like not sharing your experience and experiencing validation from your partner when you're hurt or upset about something. That is important to do, but it's like, what's the purpose for arguing here? You know, what's the solution that you're looking for? Because when I was speaking to my kids and I was like, and if you are right, what then? And they're like, nothing. Like, it's not going to mean anything. Nothing's going to change or be different, because they had already tidied the pens away together anyway.